All right. Let's get into things. This is episode number 2 of our demo track feedback sessions. We have 3 submissions this time. I think last week we had about the same or a little bit more. I can't remember. Actually, 2 weeks ago. So we're going to do these bi-monthly. So one every 2 weeks for each month. 2 episodes a month. And I'm looking forward to doing this. Thanks for the great response on this one. I hope you guys are getting some value out of it. So let's just dive right in. We'll listen to the tracks and then I'll give some feedback and you'll track along with me. And where applicable, I'll leave some suggestions as well to the applicable artists. But let's just jump right in. All right. First up is, what do we got here? Deepen My Soul by Catabolic. Shouts out to Catabolic, and thanks for being a community member as well. Seeing you around. So let's have a listen to this one. Very interested to hear what you've put up. Just at a glance, I like the arrangement structure. DJ friendly already, which is important. Okay. We got a drop here. Liking it so far, liking it. I like how that piano opened up on the filter a bit. I'm not sure if it's a filter, but sounds interesting. Bass is nice too. Alright, I feel like something's gonna happen here. Okay, yeah, it happened. Change up. Dope so far, I like it. Yes. Nice and deep. Nice drop on the vocal. I like that. Deepen my soul. Deepen my soul. Deepen my soul. Liking it so far. Breakdown here. Deepen my soul. Ooh. That was dope. That was dope with those chops, the piano chops right there. That was dope. Tom working there. Another breakdown here. Looks like it's coming. Just a change up. Another change up. Nice. That's beautiful. That's really cool. That was dope. This is dope. outro. Okay, so I gotta say this track was a pleasant surprise. You guys are sending me a lot of these deep house kind of tracks, but it was funky as well. This is proper deep house, I gotta say. I love that the fact, first and foremost, the arrangement is incredible. The way the track came together, different elements being introduced at the right times that DJs can anticipate it, that listeners can anticipate, is a very, very good thing. In particular, I love how the vocal was introduced. I think it was around here, right? Was it here? Yeah. Yeah. I like how it was introduced there and how it was carried out through this area here. Very well done. And the other thing that I enjoyed was just some of the change up techniques used to contrast the main piano chops that were leveraged. I think there's a change up right here. Yeah. Whereas it started just more simpler. Oh, that isn't a part. Yeah, there it is. Dun. Coming up. Of course, I can't find it now. I think it's probably back here. There it is. So I call them change up techniques. Other people call them contrasting arrangement techniques. That sort of stuff is good, especially for a deep house track that's kind of got like a prescribed, sort of phrasing with the chords, with the chops that were chosen for the piano. So having things of that nature were cool. He also did another cool piece here. Yeah, it's the introduction and the stabs. And that piece, those lower piano notes, the dun, 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 that totally evolved the track into a whole other space that made it even more interesting for my ears to listen to. So honestly, nice deep house cut. I have nothing, sort of earth shattering or bad to say about this track. I love the arrangement. I think that's where this track shines a lot. My only other feedback would be, I think it was over here. So these different parts of the vocal and how it's used, I think the track could possibly benefit from having those introduced a bit earlier or sparsely earlier in the arrangement. But that's my only feedback for this. Like, there's just so much good stuff going on with the track, aside from the fact that it's well arranged, the elements are in key. The vocal is, introduced at a very good time and played with throughout very well, sonically mixed too. I enjoyed this track. So hats off to you, Catabolic. Good one. Strong, deep house track, DJ friendly, and very intelligent elements in terms of how you introduced certain instruments. And you did things slyly too. You also did a piece with a tom drum that I heard that was also in key that just made the track interesting to listen to. So Deepen My Soul, it gets props from me. Nice one. Let's move on. Who do we got here? Freque Boutique. Let's get into this. 2 tracks. First track up is Rebel Song. Let's listen. Give it to me. I'm gonna turn this up on my end. I just want to hear what's going on in the lower end. Let's advance a bit. Okay, so I'm not sure how I would classify this track, but after listening, I'm gonna just say it's probably house track. I like the overall idea for sure. I think there's a definite groove there. The drums are cool as well. My only feedback on this one, well, a couple of pointers. The first is the sound. So I could hear the sub element underneath here. Probably filtered down. And it's more open here, right? It sounds a little harsh to me, and it could probably be smoothed out. I'm not sure if there's a sub and then there's another sort of bass sound on top of it, but it doesn't sound pleasing to the ears for me. So I would say definitely review that piece. It sounds like there's some artifacts in it. I'm just not sure, but it's because it's the main anchor of the track. What my recommendation would be is to definitely go back and look at that and see if there's a way to smooth that sound out. And also ask, like, play around with other sounds too. Like if you're looking for more of an acid sound or a synthy bass sound, try and play with sounds that are dedicated to that, like a lead at a lower octave, so to speak. The way this sounds to me, it's just not as pleasing as it could be, based on the notes chosen. So that would be my feedback on that one. The other piece is, let's just look at the structure of the track here. So the vocal. Like, it's a cool vocal. My feedback on its use is that it goes on for quite some time. Like, it's just throughout the entire track, or most of the track rather. And the bass line, given how it sounds, it starts to sound a little monotonous potentially, which is what you don't want. You want to try and create a dynamic feel. So I would suggest here is take the vocal components that are hooky and something that an ear can identify and connect with, whether it be somebody that's dancing or just casual listening. Try and select that part of the vocal and do some breakdowns and some contrasting stuff potentially with the bass line or the lead bass group, that piece. Like, you can easily take what you did here, where it's just the sub parts of it, and introduce the sub parts earlier rather than it just being the breakdown, or the outro of the arrangement. Those are the things, those sort of changes and contrasts make the track more interesting. Whereas if you just have the vocal feeling like it's just being played, and then you have the loopy bass line over it, it starts to sound a little monotonous. And there's cool things in there already, like the introduction of the ride cymbal at different points, the horn hit as well. All of those are cool. It's just where the because it's a loopy sort of track, I would definitely introduce short breakdowns and reduce the use of the vocal down to the components that are more compelling. Um, yeah, that I'd say that's my only feedback on that track. So it's a good idea. It probably just needs to be worked on a bit more in terms of the quality, the main bass groove sound, and some arrangement work to be done with the vocal chops, and consider doing small breakdowns or just more dynamics in the bass loop just to make it more interesting and so it's not sounding monotonous. But definitely don't let the vocal go on for too long. Okay, let's check the next track, Acid Non-Mimic. Drums are dope, man. I like the bass sound on this better than the first. Oh, there's like cut off or resonance you can play with. I'm waiting for that. Nice. I don't know what this vocal is saying, but I like it. Okay. Yes. This is what I was waiting for. I like, yep. That's crazy. What's that? Like that. That's a dope vocal. That's dope. Wow. Let's check out this breakdown right here. Ooh, change up too. Let's see what happens here. Change up in the breakdown as well. That's dope. I like that. This is well executed. I like this so far. Nice. Yeah. That's the hook shit right there. That's dope. Okay, so I definitely like this track. I think this track is much stronger than the first track. There's a lot more dynamics happening in the second track. In terms of arrangement, it's cool. I think it's DJ friendly. It could work. That's the first and foremost thing I look for with tracks, and I think a lot of labels do too because they're catering to DJs as well as wanting to put out music that grabs the ear. So with this track, it has all of those things. And even though it had components in here, where is it? That I would say are out of key. It's one of those examples where it just works. I think it's here. The acid lines opening up. Yeah. Like completely out of key. Like those Rhodes stabs. It's dope. And the breakdown was done very well. This piece here. Breakdown, complete takeaway from the main loop. And then just getting back into it right here. Dope. That stuff. It's fun. And it just makes the track very interesting. So I love all of those components, as I just mentioned. The one component of feedback I will give is that there does appear to be a lot of different vocal chops in there. And while they're cool, I would say try and zero in on the one that's hooky. And I think it's this one. You copy me, I copy you. You copy me, I copy you. That's cool too. That would be my only thing, right? Is just making that obviously the more hooky part, which I think you attempted to do in this arrangement, but it didn't strike me that it was like, front and center. So that would be my only consideration. But other than that, this track was definitely stronger than the first. The execution of the acid bass line, the contrast technique on the breakdown was super dope, and just the variation you had going on in the track kept it interesting. So this is a good one, man. Acid NonMimic by Freque Boutique. Well done, man. Peace. Keep them coming. All right, let's move on to our next. Addison Rich. Don't Want to Lose You. A little French touch flavor. Bassline came in nice. It sort of filled it out. Nice. Okay. That's way out of key. This sound right here. You get away with it though. I wish you loved me too. This time I promise, look into my eyes. Can't give you loving, baby. All right, let's see what happens here. We're going back to the. Okay. What if you're gonna do something with that Rhodes? It's dope. Oh, he went back to the. That's interesting. Waiting for this Rhodes part. I want to hear this again. Then I'll give. There is a loop in there. That Rhodes part is dope as fuck, but then it went back to this, which is fine. It's just it's just more about the sound choices there. So overall on this one, great, strong idea. I love sort of that French touch feel, disco feel. It's evidently there. It's very obvious. I do think it could benefit from having a snare on a 2 and 4, just right down the mid, just to sort of lock it in. Because right now, it sounds muted. It feels like when I listen to this, it feels like there's that snare element missing in the middle, like when you listen to this, right? Like it sounds like a muted snare is being used, but if you had like a thick snare, like especially on the drops, right? You could like it would just make the beat knock some more. So I would highly recommend considering that just to fill out the frequency of the track. I mean, you could get away with this as is, but that would be my recommendation. Yeah. So it's just about sound choices. The other thing you might want to consider is doing a dub version with that Rhodes loop here. That Rhodes loop is dope. So I would consider doing like a dub version with that and let that loop through. You could probably put it on top of the bass line too, that you chose. Yeah, it should work with that sort of pop bass line you got going. It's very dynamic. But other than that, I like the idea. Just some small tweaks with the drums, like I suggested. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave my feedback at that. It's a great idea, and you could probably get away with that as is for French touch. Probably a bit more. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, so you did a straight cut to the bass line breakdown here. Yeah, so you kind of had the Rhodes floating around in the background. I would either push it up a little, have it filter down, and have it ramp up slowly to keep it interesting. But you could go either way with this one. So I'll leave my feedback at that. It's because at this point, it's really just a matter of, personal taste. But in terms of making it a strong release, I'd highly recommend adding that snare and doing a dubby version with the Rhodes piece in there, just to make it more, do like a housey mix. This is very disco, French touch. So points to consider. All right. Let's move on to Addison's next track, Stap. See what we got here. All right. With the drums, I like that. mean, cool track. I'm not sure if these drums, as cool and creative as they are, if it matches this sound. Yeah. So my vote would be no, it's not a perfect match. You can probably get away with it. But by comparison to the first track, I like the other track more because I think those components sit better together as a total composition. Whereas here, you have an ultra creative drum sort of loopy thing going on with the doubling of the kick too. It's really cool. I love that part. This part here. Like that's creative. I love that. But I'm just not sure if the other elements align with it. It's similar to my previous feedback, with like having some sort of lead snare or clap to fill out the mids nicely. It helps in these types of situations or these types of tracks because it just makes it snap more. In my opinion, it doesn't need to be on every track, but I do think tracks like this can benefit from that because it just sort of smacks and gives the listener something to anticipate and follow along to. And I think it just fills it out overall. The last piece is that I would get more of a audible vocal. Like I hear oohs and yahs in there, but that's pretty much in every track, right? Try and find a vocal that is unique that someone could latch on to when they're dancing or listening to this casually, that they can just lock right into the track. But that would be my only parts of feedback right there. So it's a good start of an idea. Definitely the previous track I feel was stronger than this one, but consider those things that I've suggested to put it over the top. All right. Who do we got next here? All right, Santeli and Bigstate, New Love. So let's give this one a listen. Is this track already released? I'm not sure. Or is this just, oh, that's probably his profile. All right, let's check this out. So far, so good. Nice. Okay. Get ready for the drop. Man. This is dope. Like, just take you away from that main piano loop. I like this with the pad. Nice work. And then I would guess the kick's gonna come out and it's another kind of breakdown. Yep. It's a good arrangement technique. I mean, into the draw. Okay, it's a dope track. You know, I sort of heard tracks and songs like this before, so it's somewhat easy to anticipate where certain components would happen. But nonetheless, it's still a good party track. It works. The things that work very well for this is the kick is cutting through nicely. It's balanced with the drums, and more importantly, this underscores my point that I was saying earlier about having a nice 2/4 snare that makes the beat just pop, right? It's right there, right? I think in a breakdown it's not there. Oh, it is there. Yeah, so he has it right from the get-go. Those things matter. Those things make a difference. Whereas if you don't have like something to fill out the mids with, you know, 2/4 snare or a clap or a combination of the two, it just kind of sounds a little flat. So kudos to you for doing that. Those are key components. I think the strongest thing about this track was this breakdown here. I love that. Added a pad. He added some other sounds underneath there. Plus that little synth hit right there, just to keep it different and interesting. All of that stuff makes a difference. And then, you know, as I called correctly, it went into this main breakdown. So this is like an introduction to the breakdown, arrangement wise. Right? Back here. So it's letting you know a breakdown is coming, and then it's building right into it. Right there. Just by simply taking the kick out and also cueing, right? You heard that double kick before the crash. It's like a boom, boom, psh, and then the vocals in there. So the arrangement is great. The sound choices are good too. The other thing I think that's very strong is just the vocal. Like, you got a nice hooky vocal that people can lean into and enjoy while they're listening or dancing to this. This stuff is super important. You know, I'm not a big piano house kind of guy. I think that's obvious. But in terms of, you know, the idea, how this track was put together, it's a good track, man. And this will work in clubs and dance floors for sure. It played at the right time and moment. So kudos to you, Santeli and Bigstate, for this one. New love. Very well done. I mean, if I had any other piece of feedback, it would be this bass line breakdown. Introduce that a bit earlier. I would actually, so this is the drop you have here, right? And I understand that it's coming out of this breakdown here. Yeah. So letting that roll makes sense. But then perhaps go into this baseline breakdown that you did later. Yeah. So basically take this part and put it over here, and then go back to the main loop, and then do your outro arrangement, and that should work well. I think a good baseline beat breakdown always works well. I think DJs love it too because it gives them options to mix something in, or you can play with hot cues and just cue right to that point, knowing it's getting back to the main loop. Those things always work well. But you know, great track overall. I think it was cool, well executed idea, and I'll leave you those points for consideration in terms of feedback. All right, so that concludes our show for this week. Demo and track feedback sessions. Please continue to have your submissions coming. You can get the email address where to send that to, signing up on my Patreon. It's easy, it's free, and both free and paid subscribers can participate in this thing. We do the show every 2 weeks, so 2 shows a month, and this is our second episode. So mad excited to hear more from y'all. Much love and respect. Peace.